Have you ever wondered what really goes on behind the scenes of government? How decisions are made that shape your community and your future? Welcome to Govern, the podcast where we take you inside the world of public service, leadership, and the innovation driving local change. Join us as we explore the roles of elected officials, how government operates, and what it takes to create real change. We'll dive into forward-thinking leadership lessons, and how we all can influence the decisions that shape our communities and futures. Thank you for tuning in to Govern with Supervisor Curt Hagman.
Hi, my name is Curt Hagman, and welcome to another episode of Govern. And today I'm very excited to have my dear friend Josie Gonzales here with us today, who we served together on the Board of Supervisors. But now she is our Assessor-Recorder-Clerk. So good to have you, Josie. Thank you for coming. It's a whole new role for you to play. You're countywide elective, but it's really nice to have you back in the county scene again after your service for many years on this Board of Supervisors. So thank you for joining us today. What this whole thing is about is really to explain to our constituents what the roles of local government does and kind of open up the little secrecy, or not really secrecy, but make it really transparent for those residents to know what the government does from day in, day out. And you have a very important role right now. But before we get into those roles, tell the viewers a little bit about your background, how you got into public service, how long you've been doing it, just a little bit about yourself.
Well, it's certainly nice to have an opportunity to come and visit you, get invited to this wonderful YouTube show that just really is popping out there. It's a pleasure to see you. You're right. I had the pleasure and the honor of serving as San Bernardino County Supervisor for the 5th District for 16 years. And for many of those years, I had the fun and the privilege and the great opportunity to work with you. And that made for a really good kind of relationship between us. We have a lot of our ideas in common, and we're able to focus on public service and wanting to provide community services, not only for our cities, but for our unincorporated areas together. And so too, I am able now to bring under the new official title of County Assessor, Recorder, and Clerk to bear additional opportunities for us to work together.
Well, government has a whole bunch of acronyms, but we call you ARC now, right?
Oh, yeah. ARC, that's the acronym.
Some of the titles get very long because you handle multiple duties in this role as an elected official over the whole county.
Absolutely. You asked how I got started. Very simply, it was never my intent to go into public service. It was a very out of the ordinary type of an opportunity that came by my way through other people. It was other people who saw something in me that caused them at one point or another to encourage me to step into the public arena. I was never interested in politics. I'm quite opinionated, as I think you know. And I initially was approached to serve on the Planning Commission. I turned that opportunity down several times, and in the end, I think mayor and council got a little bit bored with my answer, and they just put me on the agenda, put me on the consent calendar to boot, and ended up being appointed. I decided that if I was going to be on that planning commission for the city of Fontana, I was going to do a good job, and within a year, I became the chair of the planning commission. After that, again, I was asked to run for Fontana City Council. I did, and I had the privilege and honor of serving the city of Fontana for 6 years. And then the late Senator Nell Soto asked me to run in her stead for San Bernardino County Supervisor for the 5th District. I did. She had a beautiful opportunity to serve as the Perchloric Contamination Committee Chair, which she really wanted to clean up the perchlorate in our groundwater. And so as she stepped out of the way, I ran in that campaign, and with God's grace, I was successful. And as I said, served 16 years and got to meet all kinds of wonderful people.
Well, what I think both of you and I have common, in what I appreciate, at least as my colleagues, is that grassroots effort of really, when you get on council, it's really you're close to home. You see your residents, they see you every day, they tell you things. It's really non-political. It's supposed to be non-political. Sometimes there's politics involved in that. But for the most part, we're there to serve our residents as a resident.
Correct.
It's really a part-time. It takes over your life quite a bit for being a part-time gig, but for that local city council is kind of good. It gives us a good foundation, and I enjoy working with those who had that experience, not just jumping into being elected for the politics of it, for the public service of it. And you've always shown that. It's always been a very nonpartisan way of working together with you and working collaboratively with you when you're on the board, and now with your new role. So let's break down the ARC.
All
So
right.
let's talk about your different duties. Assessor. What does the assessor do for the county?
The under the responsibilities of the assessor, the office is responsible for identifying every single piece of property in San Bernardino County, identifying it, looking at it to value and assess its long-term value. It's not just looking at it in a snapshot. It's what is it today? What can it be? What are the zonings that govern over it? What is the potential growth or area around that piece of property? And making sure that we value and assess these properties fairly. That is critical. People need to be able to trust that when an assessment is made on their home, on their business, that they have been treated fairly.
And I think that's an important part. Everyone knows they're assessing your home, and we pay property taxes, but it's not just the real estate properties. It's business. It's assets inside the business. I didn't know until I got to this role that you actually assess airplanes and other things besides cars, right?
Yes.
Cars get done by the state,
Right?
but all those are assessed at the local county level.
Yes. Aviation and water types of vehicles, whether they be boats or ski-doos, making sure, again, that we bring about a fair return for all of the community services that are paid for and accessed by property owners.
Recorder. So, recorder, you keep that's where all the secrets are in. They're recorded properly, right?
Absolutely. As the county recorder, we touch every facet of a person's life, their personal life, their most personal moments, from the time that a child is born to the time that a couple decides to get married and start their married life, to the time, many times, always, I would say, very sad departure, when we experience a death. Making sure that these records are kept accurately according to California recording state law, and making sure that people trust the information in these recorded documents, wanting to ensure that if and when they have a legal case where they need to go to court and present certified information that not only the judicial system can count on, but that the property owner, the relative of for whom they are presenting the information, that they know it is reliable and accurate information upon which legal decisions can be made.
Same thing for our properties and other things.
Absolutely.
And which is fascinating because it goes back hundreds of years. Even before we became a county, you have to be able to trace back original land ownership and easements and water rights and mining rights and whatever else they have. That all kind of goes to your department, and you have to make sense of that. And I've seen some of the old maps we had at the county, and it's like, it's got to be challenging. It's got to be better with digital age now than old paperwork, but it's still got to be a lot, and you have all that. And how about the clerk?
The county clerk. That is an office that deals with the performing marriages, being able to deal with fictitious business name statements, which is very important, especially in this economic time where we're encouraging entrepreneurial opportunities and wanting to be sure that we have fast, accurate turnaround times for those individuals who are wanting to start a business. So we have, I work with the clerk of the board here at the Board of Supervisors. I also work with all of the city clerks for all of our 24 cities in this county, wanting to make sure that we are up to speed with all of the California state laws, that we are able to give accurate, correct information to our constituents via the county clerk's office.
So the recordings that you have not just take care of our residents and the businesses and all the people and things inside the county, but it also you're kind of like the historian for the county because those minutes of every meeting and who did what and stuff is all recorded for future use as needed going forward, correct?
Absolutely. And under the ARC, the ARC, there is also the archives. And the archives falls under my office as well. And we keep mentioning records and files and going back to land records, water records, many of our special districts that have mapping type of information that guide them many times through lawsuits or through creating boundary lines. And that is very important and very expensive. I'm sure you've seen items come before your board agenda in which you see the high cost, but the high value and importance of preserving our archives because it preserves our history, our story. And many times it is the most invaluable information that causes us to know not only who we are, but that we are legitimately standing within the law.
And where we came from too, just have
Yes.
that history. So the ARC is going to confuse me for now on because I also am a board member of the ARC. Animal Resource Center on the West End is our new animal control
Oh my
on the West End.
goodness.
So we're still in an acronym. So
You
I
know,
know
I
my
did see that. I did read that. Yes.
yes. Well, when you talk about the recorders, one of the biggest things I think my office got, and I'm sure you're a supervisor too, is there was a period of a lot of identity theft where people were doing fake, trust deeds, grant deeds, whatever, and people are stealing property and stuff. I know that's a big mission for your office is to have security and transparency, but at the same time keep our records safe. So how can homeowners have protections? I guess.
Well, first of all, we work very closely with the district attorney's office. We immediately, upon receiving any type of transaction on a piece of property, notify the district attorney, who then turns around and sends out a letter to the homeowner, to the property owner, stating there has been a transaction. There's either been a refinance, there's been a name change. Are you aware? If you're not, please call the following information. That is very important for property owners to know and to keep an eye out. Yes, there is a lot of property fraud that is going on. And in order for us to mitigate it at the front line, we have become very stringent on our requirements relative to even speaking to someone about a piece of property. I'll give you an example. Developers or people who have issues either because they think they've been overassessed or they're in doubt of a property line and they come in and talk to me, I must now make sure that my front office collects their identification. If the property owner is sending an attorney or someone to advocate in their stead, I must have their signature with all of their personal information before I will speak on behalf of a property owner or to a property owner.
That's great. And no, I reached out for one of my constituents' concerns a while back when he first got elected about some of the access we had into our databases because there's a lot of data out there. I know you put some extra controls on that as well, so people can't just surf, our websites and get information. So thank you for doing that as well. But what can a homeowner do to make sure everything is recorded properly?
They can always call my office. Very quickly, you can go online to arc.sbcounty.gov, or you're welcome to call at 877-885-7654. I have a wonderful staff, a wonderful front line of people who are always happy to take your phone call, and you can ask, I want to know, I haven't seen my grant deed in a long time. I want to know if it's properly recorded, or I've moved and I've lost my grant deed and I need to replace it. I want to see what's going on with my properties. But sometimes people own more than one property and they become confused at times as to what's happened with new laws, or they want to immediately turn around, create a trust or a will, and they need this information and they need it to be accurate. So I asked them to call my office anytime, but please feel free to call at any time.
You talked a little bit about overassessment. That was a new term that I wasn't aware of too, but some real property devaluates and some increases.
Yes.
We hope that our homes get more and more value each year, but sometimes they don't. What's the process for you to look at? Let's say we think we're overassessed.
There's a formula that includes a multiple of approaches. For example, you can build a new home in a blighted area, thinking that at some point the blight around this property, this home, is going to be torn down, it's going to be rebuilt, and that your property value will increase. Logical. The fact is that a new home built in such a lower economic area is not worth the same as the same home built in an upper end area. So you cannot value both homes equally. Also, you need to look at what is planned for a particular area. How are the social services impacting? How is the circulation impacting any given piece of property? And also, how will that property be used? Will it be used as a private residence, a residential? Does it have a mixed use? Wanting, again, not only to be fair to the property owner, but fair to the surrounding property owners is key.
And if they think they're assessed wrong, they just contact your office to have an appointment. Is there a process to say, I don't believe my property's worth this?
Absolutely. I will tell you that I'm working really hard to attract more attention to my office when people have questions. It is imperative that people know that they do not need to go to the appeals board immediately upon having a concern, whether it's an overassessment or if it's a past tax bill that they have questions on. Please come on over to my office. I am available. I am very accessible, and I want to be able to resolve many of these appeals issues before they go to the appeals board. Once you won't go into the appeals board, there's a lot of paperwork. Many times you have to hire an attorney. You get on the calendar, you have to wait. Whereas if you give my office a buzz at 877-885-7654, I am more than happy to bring you in, take care of you, and be able to explain to you. I bring professional staff in and I say, hey, let's look at this. What's your concern? Why are you concerned? What's changed? And we are able then to mitigate that. And I'll tell you, in every single case since I've been in office, we've been able to resolve issues right there in my office.
This is important too. For again, back to identity theft and vital records, how does the county protect those records, both from people trying to steal that information, but also in case there's a problem? We had a building, you have an earthquake, you have cyber threat. What kind of redundant systems do we have to make sure what we have there stays pure and safe, I guess?
Yes, we are very careful with property information. We follow California recording laws. We make sure that not only every individual, every employee is well trained, but I will tell you, more importantly, is the ongoing, consistent training that ultimately makes our county employees the experts that they are. They are recorders of high end. I am surprised every time that I'm walking around from one office to another to see the training rooms consistently full. We bring people from all the different offices, 5 other offices, into the main office at on Hospitality Lane, and there's a constant training. There is a great deal of testing that goes on that needs to be, how should I say, rigorously attended, and tests that and examinations that need to be passed in order for promotions to happen.
Mm.
There is a great deal of serious knowledge that is embedded within our recorder's
That's
office.
great. But we digitalize the records, right? And
Absolutely.
we have our own servers and we back them up other places and they're protected from cyber warfare and all the rest of it, right?
Yes, we do. And I need to now, being on both sides of the fence, I need to say thank you to you and the board for financing those cyber programs that are critical to keeping this information safe. These are people's lives that bring about vital information that must be accurate, whether it's here in our county, at the state level, and many times at international levels.
Are there any property tax relief programs for residents following natural disasters? We have our share here in the county. We have fires, we have windstorms, sometimes even flooding. Look,
And earthquakes.
yeah. So, what can they do if they have a problem?
They're always welcomed again to come into the office and also become aware. Go on the website, the county website on sbcounty.gov, and look at the opportunities that are there already presented by the board. You all brought about the local emergency what was it, center that you immediately open up for our residents to go in and get social security numbers, get their driver's license. You bring all the departments in, the state departments together to provide that information. I am there. Many of our foreign consuls are also there providing information. And this is a big step. I know that when we have had many of our disastrous fires, we open up the FELAC Center, whether it be at the High Desert or here downtown at the Orange Show. You all have always been instrumental in being able to bring about local emergency information services and aid. It hasn't just been where it's just information. You bring financial opportunities, you bring healthcare, mental healthcare assistance, and that's important. That's very proactive and very forward thinking.
Look at the future ARC. Okay. So, we got today. I know you're going through modernization, so you could talk about that a little bit. And what's the growth for the next 20 years?
Well, I will tell you, as we stated earlier, I know that you're very much into new technology. I love new technology. It's one of the things I really like about you, where I connect with you, and I am determined to be able to partner with new technology in being able to streamline some of the redundancies, be able to identify inefficiencies, and also making sure that we bring about the type of AI, I would say, um, intelligent information and programs in which our employees don't feel threatened, but feel assisted and supported in using. Making sure many times that we can create more efficient response times by allowing some of these programs to do the redundancy, the checking, double checking, and triple checking that a slew, many times 15, 20 numbers in a row are correct, that ultimately can be done very quickly with many of these programs, that then frees up the employee to be able to provide more customer service, be able to provide the recording of more records, and there again, being able to reduce the turnaround time to our property owners.
I'm looking forward to, as we integrate new systems, to have the efficiency that everybody expects from our county. That's one of the things, I'm sure you always hear this back then too, is our county does things a lot quicker than other counties, especially we had the worst ones to the west. That takes a long time. that we're pretty efficient at all this stuff. So I appreciate that.
And I'll share with you, for example, the FBNs, the fictitious business name statements. They generally take a good minute. The entrepreneur, the hopeful entrepreneur, comes into whether it's a city clerk's office or our office at the county clerk, and they have to fill out the form. They fill out their form. It has to be accurate. It then is turned around and sent to our local community newspaper, who has to publish it for 5 consecutive weeks. It has to be accurate. If there is one typo, one mistake, and it has come down even to creating a space or a blank where the letter either skipped or there was a space between the letters, that application can be rejected, and that hopeful entrepreneur has to start all over on the 5 weeks. With AI, I'm looking at a program that will look at that very quickly and tell us, is it correct? Is it incorrect? And we're able to catch those mistakes very quickly, reduce the amount of time that we're handling this paperwork, get it to the community printer, and get it published for 5 weeks, and get it back certified to the new business owner.
I know that because we talked about this briefly as an older role, I have multiple hats I have to wear, but you got to do the same thing in your new role. And as you go out to those regional conferences as either a recorder or a clerk or assessor, what are you picking up from other states? You pick up any good ideas or that you bring back home, or are we leading the way?
Oh, no, absolutely. It's no different than when I was here with you on the board. You go out to conferences and to conventions, and you think, oh, each time I have to go and figure out where on the agenda do I find something that fits my county where I can bring information back. And it is a surprise every single time that you walk into one of the classes that they have, and you find it is a perfect fit either for what you're doing or for what you want to do, bringing back information from many of our companies who are dealing with AI and saying, we have a multiple of new programs we want to demonstrate for you. Right then and there, you're able to gather that information and say yes or no, and invite them to come on out and make a demonstration right with sharing with my employees that they look at it and say, oh yes, I can do that. I think I like that. Or being able to eliminate. Not every option, not every presentation works, but definitely finding things that work and bringing them home. It's worth every penny, and every time you think you don't want to go, I want you to know it's important to go. You bring invaluable information home.
Okay, I'm going to switch a little bit from the role to the leader. Okay, you've been around for a while in public office now, and want to get some of your takes for those to aspire to be an elected official. Um, some of the things you've learned. What's key leadership, you know, uh, things that you brought out? What makes you a good leader?
I would say you need to be honest. Be who you are. Be yourself. Don't try to be what anyone wants you to be. Fight for that person that you would like to be, that you would like to have represented your family, your friends, your neighborhood at the end of what I will call, in my case, a political career. Again, totally unintended, but I found that one of the most important things that I could do was to speak my mind, but to first learn, listen, and love what I was doing. If I didn't listen, it means I wasn't going to like it. I'd already shut it out. If I like it, then let's find the good things about it to fall in love, and then ultimately deliver this public service in a manner that is respectful and honorable to the people who pay their taxes, to the people who go to work every day, whether they have the flu or many times, they're ill, they don't feel well, they have a death in the family, and they still go to work. Some people are in a job hoping to find a better job, and they still go to work. And those are the people that we need to think of and honor with our work. That's something that I admire about you. I admire about my colleagues that I've worked with. And I'll tell you, there's nothing better than just being honest, run of the mill, ordinary people so that you never have to remember what lie you told last month or the year before, and you just being genuine. It comes out, and the people have respect for the sacrifices that in my case that I have made and that many of our elected leaders make.
And how about you as a leader for your team over at ARC? What if you, it's a little bit different from what we were as county supervisors. We have our staff,
Yes.
but we have policy direction, and then we have our official duties. But now you're setting a vision for a whole department, and there's different needs throughout the county. So it's not the same at one place with the largest geographical county. So what if you picked up in your new role that you didn't maybe have in your previous role?
I picked up that it was a big surprise when I got there. You're absolutely right. It is a very different role. I have approximately 300 employees working directly for each one of the offices. I find that they are wonderful people who have been the best kept secret. I am I am embarrassed to say that in the 16 years I was here, did I know about the county assessor recorder, county clerk's office? Yes, we knew about it. We talked about it. The late assessor and Senator Dutton would come in. Assessor Wilhite would come in and talk to us, and I'd say, "Boy, this is wonderful. I've got to get over there, take a look, and see what they do." And somehow, with all of our responsibilities and obligations here, I just never did. When on January 6th, day after I was sworn into office, I walk into those offices over there and I find out that there is a treasure trove of human resource individuals who have diligently been working on their responsibilities, training sessions, looking for opportunities for upward promotion and mobility, keeping mathematical records that are critical to the financial well-being of our county, wanting to figure out, with a human resource department of our own, heavens, when do you do WPEs, work performance evaluations? Who is doing this? How are they being evaluated? What is the condition of the buildings, the facility maintenance buildings that we have? I've got 6 of them. So looking at them, looking at what condition they're in, what upkeep, the budgets,
But what
all
about
of these things are important.
setting that vision to, and with your style coming in and saying, "Hey, team, this is what we're going to strive to do. We're going to be the best of X, Y, and Z, and this is how we're going to do it." You're always good at that. So I'm sure that after you got your feet grounded, you had some of those conversations.
Yes, I did. And I have worked diligently to bring upgrades, to institute change, to make sure that every single one of my employees feels valued. I've made sure they know that I'm learning. I am learning and I want to hear from them. I want to listen and learn. I want to hear what they like, what they think works. They have great ideas and I embrace that. Obviously, if something doesn't work, we sit down and we have that talk and we say, "Hey, we tried it. Doesn't look like it's going to work, pan out. Let's try something else." And that's a very welcoming thing.
So there's been a little events going on the last couple of weeks, and obviously on the federal level, it trickles down to even us locally, where there's a bigger divide in government. So, from someone that's been around for a while in government, both you and I, what do you think? How do we talk to our skeptics out there that we're doing a good job for them, we're doing the right thing for them? How do we show that transparency and confidence that they should have in their government at this point?
We show them that we care by number one, addressing the issues that matter, that impact them. We talk about the economy, jobs. How can we generate jobs? Can we make jobs? No, that's not our job. Our job is to bring about the environment that nurtures jobs, that attracts people to want to come and live here. What are those things? We look at community safety, our sheriff's department. We look at fire. Look how we treat our safety units. Looking at the unincorporated areas, and you will remember I always said they are the new development frontier. How do we, as the unincorporated area representatives, look at our brother and sister cities and say, what is it that you need? City of Ontario, City of Chino, City of Victorville, City of Redlands. What do you need that we can partner with you? And making sure that there is understanding and cohesiveness with our communities. People drive from one place to another. They don't know if they're in a city or what city they just left and crossed the intersection and they're in their neighboring city, let alone in the unincorporated area. So I think that as county supervisors and as county electeds, being able to work with our mayors and councils, they're struggling also to be good leaders. And working with them ultimately sends a message. We are a county that is determined to succeed, to have an open door policy, that we attract people who want to come and live here, work here. We're looking at a diverse economic approach with our goods movement corridors. Everybody thinks, oh, we're the warehouse capital of the world. Honey, I'm going to tell you, those warehouses are multi-purposed. They're not all full of inventory. They're full of businesses. Many of our blighted areas that have some of these old mom and pop businesses are finding new homes inside these warehouses where they're enclosed, where they're safe, where they can keep their inventory and they can lock it up at night and frees up many of these blighted areas for reconstruction. So I think we send a very strong message. You all on the board are hands-on. You get along. There's no inner backbiting, no bickering. There's a united front. And I think that's what people want. They want good, strong leadership that they know that instead of fighting each other, they're fighting for a better future. That's what people ultimately want.
Well, thank you, Josie. Thank you for your years of public service. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple final questions. What's the one thing you want people to know about ARC?
Yours or mine?
Yeah.
I want them to know that we are a hard-working outfit. We're a unit. We are determined to be a good leader. I want San Bernardino County Assessor-Recorder and County Clerk's offices to be a #1 leader in the state
And
of
you've got some
California.
awards too, right? Yes. Yes.
Absolutely.
San Bernardino County keeps, I'm going to keep bragging about this.
Yes.
4 years in a row, be the #1 most innovative county in North America, 4 years in a row, setting new records. ARC is a big part of it. You got your awards for
Yes.
innovation as well. So thank you for contributing your awards to the total.
Absolutely. And we're already working on next year's submittals. I want to make sure that my employees get the very best recognition for their hard work. And I know that you love bragging about how many of our NACO awards we receive. That is a true badge of pride and courage that our employees are proud to be able to wear, and they love hearing you brag.
Yes, which I do all the time. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Govern. Hopefully, everyone got to see a little more of the inside. A lot of times we just get government. They just want us to make sure we do our job well, and you're doing your job very well over there.
Thank you,
And
Supervisor.
they want them to be responsive when they do have a problem in your office, because I've sent my constituents to your office all the time. You're very responsive. So thank you for that. I want you to let people know where to go again, your website and phone number again, one last time.
All right. The website's arc.sbcounty.gov. Please come online. There is a whole menu of wonderful things that you can discover. You want to check on your property. You want to make an appointment. You want to come in and see me. You can call my office at any time, 877-885-7654. I'm your San Bernardino County Assessor, Recorder, and Clerk. It's my honor to continue to serve you and my honor to continue to work with the Board of Supervisors.
Thank you again, Josie. And thank you for joining us on this episode of Govern. Until next time.
We hope you enjoyed the conversation and found some valuable insights. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for our next episode. Until then, remember that your voice matters in government.